everybody, welcome back to Gamer Protocol Network News, where we give you a look into what's going on in the world of gaming. I'm Isaiah, and some stories for today. We're going to be talking a little bit about, what's going on with the different mid-gen consoles that were sort of had details released at E3, or, we're speculating about this at this point. We're going to be taking a look at some of the VR exclusivity and, some of the backlash that's resulted from that. And then we're also going to be wrapping it up with a little more information about No Man's Sky, why they weren't at E3 and sort of like what's going on with the development and everything at this point. So let's get into it. So what happened at the E3 show with Xbox, if you weren't there to witness it, is the Microsoft actually released their Xbox Slim, and then they also showed the Scorpio at the end. And sort of the problem that's arising out of this is the plan for the Slim is to release it at the end of this year, but then they're going to release the Scorpio at the end of 2017. So basically, you get two consoles. One is exactly the same. One is like, supposed to be like 4 times more powerful or something like that. So I mean, which should you buy? And at the same time, that's two consoles basically 1 year. Why would you buy the Xbox Slim? Like, what benefit is that? So how isn't this gonna tank? And at the same time, you got the Scorpio, which has 4K capability, but is that going to benefit, games, I guess, developers? Are they going to be developing specifically for that? Like, what if you don't have a 4K TV? There's, like, so many questions regarding this. And, it's just poor release at E3 by Microsoft. All right, for Sony, we have the PlayStation Neo, PlayStation 4.5, whatever you want to call it. Basically, they plan to release it, like, unveil it at the end of their E3 show. But they didn't because, Microsoft's was way better, apparently. I think about 2 times more than theirs. So, like, in terms of processing power. And, with the PS4, that was, like, a huge thing. Like, oh, I got, what was it? It was, like, 900p or something like that. Or, like, it was ridiculous. But, that slight, more processing capability, actually, like, it was the reason people bought the console. So, you're going to get this sort of, like, so they don't want to release any details on this console yet because it's not powerful, and then you're going to, get into the same problem that Microsoft has right now where, it's sort of shady, sort of confusing. I mean, who knows what they're going to put out now, and it seems almost like, I don't know, I'm really not feeling these mid-gen consoles. Like, normally they just release a Slim. Now they're trying to, outdo their old console. So, I mean, at the same time, you're like, what if I have a regular PlayStation 4? Like, am I going to be screwed over if I don't get this new console? Like, why are they even doing this? It really doesn't make sense. It sort of defeats the purpose of a console. People say, don't play PC because you got to keep upgrading. Well, it's been 3 years? It's about, the time people upgrade their PC. And it's going to be a lot cheaper than buying an entire new console, I'll tell you that. So, in terms of Nintendo, we didn't really hear much about the NX, but what we did hear is that they're not interested in having a teraflop war, which is, basically processing power. That's the reason PlayStation didn't release their console at the end of E3. But they said they're more concerned with content. But those things sort of go hand in hand. So are we going to get another Wii U, which is basically as powerful as like a PS3 or something? I think it's like barely as powerful as a PS3. And are we going to get that again? Which means, when they release it, it's going to be powerful as the Xbox One. Well, they're rolling out new consoles, which are supposed to be more powerful. So if they're not going to have this actually processing power, it's going to have the same thing that happened with the Wii U. You're going to get less games because developers, they don't want to optimize their game for a Wii. It's a whole, probably few months, and I'm probably shortening that development. Developers don't want to do it, or either that or their game's going to get a bad rep because they didn't spend enough time optimizing it for the Wii. So either way, it's really shady stuff going on. Moving on to more Microsoft news, Phil Spencer actually confirmed that Xbox games will be coming to the Steam store as well. So they said at the same time they're not completely done with their Windows Store stuff, but that's a welcome thing for the PC community. I'm sure those of you in it can be happy about this, and that's one of the reasons I, as a PC gamer, are more favored towards Xbox, is because I keep releasing their game across platforms. And I mean, all we got is No Man's Sky really in terms of PS4 exclusivity, but it's nice to see. Okay, Overwatch. Now, a lot of speculation when this game came out, And even now, is this going to be a groundbreaking game? Is this going to be the next Call of Duty? Lots of like people just wanting this game to be more, or wondering if it will be. And we're actually starting to see some of that. So basically in Korea, this huge competitive gaming, like huge, like this is where all the esports stuff comes from. Overwatch has actually surpassed League of Legends in terms of like people playing competitively at internet cafes, which is just huge for the game. So people who have Overwatch, I feel like you don't need to be worried, because that is crazy. The capital, the place that you go for competitive gaming that it's huge at, it's beat one of the top games for competitive gaming. So that is extremely significant in terms of, it's stake in the gaming. All right, so VR exclusivity. Now, if you're not familiar with this, you have the PlayStation VR, you got the HTC Vive, and then you got the Oculus Rift, which are sort of the big players. But the Oculus Rift not even being more like the granddaddy of everything that isn't so grand anymore in the VR industry in gaming right now. And what's been happening is you got your PS4 exclusives, of course, that only are going to work with the PS4 headset. But then you go over to PC over here, and you have the HTC Vive and you have the Oculus Rift. And what people are starting to experience, which is, it's not good for VR, definitely, is that you can't use the Oculus Rift on certain Oculus Rift geared games. HTC Vive, if you have an Oculus Rift, maybe an HTC Vive won't work without the controllers, which isn't as bad as straight up not even being able to use the headset. So like if you had the Oculus Rift and you wanted to play a HTC Vive game, you probably could if you just have the controllers. But if you have an HTC Vive and you want to play an Oculus Rift game, some games will not let you, such as Super Hot, which recently went from an 86 to like a 61 on the Steam store in terms of good reviews, because it has this exclusivity to just the Oculus Rift. And a comparison would be, say I got two different monitors, all right? I use one monitor and I use, I'm using the other, maybe at the same time, maybe on different, I have them on different locations, trying to play the same game. The developer will only let me play the game on one monitor. So I can't use my other monitor to play the same exact game, which is basically how people feel about this entire situation. So with Fallout 4 modding on console, you've gotten some mixed reviews from the modders. Basically what's happening is people are taking mods and uploading it on their own account and basically pirating mods, like pirating something that's free. That's basically what's happening right now. And some of the mod developers are saying that they don't want to upload their mods at the same time, because the support for modders, being able to actually, get some credit for what you've, worked hours on, isn't there. One of the biggest modders, Caliente, creator of CBBE, if you're familiar with modding, actually said she wouldn't upload any of her mods to console, and it's like, it's basically lets you, her mods set the framework for like being able to put, clothing and actually have it fit the character, other than just, reskinning everything. So, and it lets you change the body types and everything. So it was this huge mod, especially when it came out for PC, or even with like the old Skyrim games. And this is a staple mod for a lot of other mods. So if this is something, if one of the big modders, is spoken out against, what about, like all the other mods? Like I'm not sure if they're going to be able to allow a script extender, but that is a huge thing. And I don't know if it's already on console, but either way, if that's another huge mod. If that's not in there, a lot of other mods aren't going to work. So Bethesda really needs to get their stuff together. They need to, work with these modders, get a good community going on. Even the Nexus, the one who hosts all these mods, who's just massive at this point in terms of modding, has also spoken against it, saying, you guys got to create a community, talking to Bethesda. So really, Bethesda just needs to get their stuff together at this point if they want to see console mods being, a good thing on, something that thrives on console. All right, so let's end this off with some No Man's Sky news. If you're familiar with E3, you know that No Man's Sky was not there, and they said they didn't make an appearance because they had two choices. They could go to E3, generate more hype for the game, which is they don't even need. There's so much hype around that game. Or, they could stay home, spend the entire week developing their game. And Sean Murray said he took number 2 for the choice. And, I feel like that's a really good thing. It just shows how these developers actually care about developing their game. When they delayed it, we already talked about this. It was for a good reason. And also, we actually have some new footage, about 14 seconds ish, of No Man's Sky gameplay, which was included in the PlayStation 4 store. Some showcasing, of their game lineup that are coming out, exclusives, and then also it actually received a rating, and it's everyone can play the game. So you're gonna have your little brother or something. He can play with you without being horrified by all the bloodshed or something. Like, even with all the PvP or PvE that's in the game, it's still not like gory or anything like that. Even though they still, I think they reference it in the rating, but it's not to that extent that it needs to be T or E10 and up or something even. So I guess, yeah, that's not even E10 and up. So I guess, and wow. But yeah, so all around, just some good news coming out of No Man's Sky. And if you're not familiar, it will be released August 9th. So that's about it for No Man's Sky. Alright, that's about it for this show, guys. Be sure to check out some of our other content. We just finished a video where we did an E3 wrap-up. Be sure to go check that out. And we have more content on our channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video if you liked it. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you later.